Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are back in the shop for some improvements and a little bit of maintenance. We didn't saw a lot this past summer, and we thought that we would put together a bit of a highlight reel. It was kind of hard, I got asked, what were your favorites, and it's like there were so many good things that it's really hard to pick a favorite. We didn't have any disasters, so there were nothing to compare all the great things that we did with. So.
And we spent time in quite a few different places. At first, when I thought about our trip, I thought, well, it seemed like we went to places we'd already been, but in reality, almost everywhere we camped was brand new. It was a new find, a new trail. Something about it was very unique, and I think you'll enjoy a lot of the clips here if you like getting away. And not everywhere we went was, a hard path to drive. Anyone could get there. So it wasn't just because we have Maximus that we got there, but any vehicle or camper or truck could get there.
Well, any truck camper could get there. But, even though we have a very off-road capable rig, we tend to go to accessible but remote places. We're not rock crawlers. We're not trying to put our camper in peril just to make it to someplace to say we made it there.
Anyways, we thought it would be a good idea and a way to kick off a brand new year. First of all, by saying Happy New Year to you, and also to go take a look back at what 2021 held for us in terms of traveling with this new rig.
I think this is...
Easy. What's this? Trial and error though. I'm not happy about going up.
Yeah.
Here are all the places we explored in 2021. Our routes had a bit of back and forth, and we were in some states at different times of the year multiple times. But join us as we revisit a few of our favorite trips, trails, and camping finds, state by state. February 2021 rolled around, and our deadline was fast approaching to get Maximus rolled out of the shop. Even though it wasn't quite done, we decided it was usable for a weeks-long trip, and that trip was to take us to the second annual Truck Camper Adventure Rally and on a 2-day trail run on the Bradshaw Trail. The camper wasn't completely ready for a long trip, but for a week or two we can make it work. The water system wasn't even operating. The wet bay got tested and pressurized the day before we needed to leave, and it was a mess. Many fittings were leaking. The particulate filter wouldn't even stay sealed. Hey, I think the truck is officially dirty now.
It's always dirty here.
The Bradshaw Trail was fun. It was definitely good going with a group. The trail, I would say, is rated as easy since it's mostly a maintained gravel road, but there definitely are some bumps. And even though it's easy, it seemed to be okay, but inside that camper, we had tossed salad by the time we arrived at camp. The articulation of the camper on the pivot mount was quite entertaining to watch from the outside, and now we know what happens to it on the inside. And so after that trip, we definitely had a few new things to add to the fix-it list before we set out for a longer trip in the summer. When we set out again in June 2021, our first overnight stop was also in Arizona. There's a convenient BLM area along the Virgin River called Cedar Pocket Road, and this was in the canyon. There are several sites within the first half mile, but we usually keep going to get away, which brought us to this gorgeous spot. Unfortunately, the camper was over 100 degrees by 9 p.m. at night when we finally settled into the canyon campsite. Although the heat was definitely miserable that night, it gave us a great opportunity to test out the new mini split, which was just recently installed back at the shop. Idaho was one of those 3 states we spent quite a bit of time in this year, and one of our favorite outings is kayaking on the Snake River out of the Twin Falls area. Once fall rolled around, we explored a few areas of the Sawtooth and got to chase some fall colors. We also spontaneously headed to the Panhandle Overland Rally in northern Idaho, which is near Sound Point, and enjoyed meeting not only overlanders, but also a few other misfits like us. Sand Point in northern Idaho for us was a fun day trip. We also spent several days camping along the Salmon River and exploring the area's mining history and Custer Ghost Town. Next up is Montana. I would say this is probably our favorite state to be in the summer between the backpacking, visiting, mooch docking with friends. We always make the best of our time in Montana, and we spent quite a bit there this summer. Nevada is next. It almost didn't make the list. We did not spend a lot of time in Nevada, but we had an incredible 2-day trail run on it that ended up in the Wild Horse Reservoir. Plus, we found some great BLM land in northern Nevada called Spencer Hot Springs. Well, we're getting towards the end of the list here, but Washington is next. And what do you think of when you're in Washington? Maybe rain, clouds, dreariness. Well, now I get to think of those fields of tulips when I think of Washington. Washington also created quite a challenge for us. This was a longer stay. It put us in a driveway that isn't really made for campers. So Steve had to devise some nice big ramps for us to drive up on, and we all just adjusted to our new elevated status, including Cooper with his extra long ramp. Wyoming. This is one of our regular states to visit on our RV travels. But this time we discovered the North Platte River and decided to take advantage of a lot of water time. It was finally the place where we got to take the kayak out for the first time. This was the first area of summer that we could get some kayaking done. We found a couple great sections of the North Platte River with various camping options. One was all dispersed, and the other was BLM fee-based. And from Wyoming, we were heading into Montana and found a few spare days on our hands, so we decided to go far away to get away and discovered the Kerwin Trail and the Kerwin Ghost Town area. Utah turns out to be what I think was the best boondocking find of the year. We had less than a week to spend in Utah, and I chose to return to Bryce Canyon just to get more familiar with additional boondocking areas in the Red Rock Canyon area. We did some hiking, we did a lot of Jeep driving, and we spent a day in the park. Boondocking here may have been my favorite of the year. It was a large forested area, lots of space to spread out, and it was between Red Rock and Bryce National Park, making it very convenient to get around. Plus, we had cell service. Win-win all around. And one last recap, our only national park we visited this year was Death Valley in California. We finally had some time to explore Death Valley National Park and decided to make a journey through Death Valley before returning to the shop this past October. Well, everyone, that is our wrap up on the highlights of the first year Maximus has been out on the road.
And it was a lot of road. We drove 11,000 miles.
Yes.
Consumed $3,000 in diesel fuel, which to me, my simple math is it's about 30 cents a mile, which is nowhere near the true cost of going and seeing, but it's part of it's the foundational cost.
And I think if you've picked up on a theme in the video, most places we stayed didn't cost us a dime. So we are very big on boondocking, using dispersed camp areas. And we had a couple great trail runs through the season.